The great hall of the HFY stretched before Ambassador Elena Vasquez, like a cathedral of bone and shadow. Towering pillars carved from the femurs of conquered species supported a ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. The air hung, thick with the musk of predators and the metallic tang of old blood. Every surface bore the marks of claws, teeth, and the inevitable violence that defined the HFY empire. Elena walked down the central aisle, her boots clicking against polished obsidian. The sound echoed in the oppressive silence, each step measured and deliberate. On either side, hundreds of HFY warriors watched her approach their supreme alpha. These were beings that had crushed 17 civilizations, each standing nearly 3 meters tall with razor-sharp claws and fangs that could pierce starship hulls. Their yellow eyes tracked her movement like a pack evaluating prey. At the far end of the hall, Supreme Alpha Korath waited on his throne of bleached skulls. The massive HFY had personally led the conquest of the Tenthari homeworld, reducing a species of brilliant philosophers to extinct memory in a single solar cycle. His war scars crisscrossed his dark fur like a tapestry of violence, each mark a testament to battles won and enemies devoured. Elena had come here knowing she might not leave. The Terran Federation's first contact protocols were clear. Establish communication, assess threat level, attempt peaceful resolution. But the HFY had made their position equally clear by sending back the previous diplomatic team as carefully arranged bones in a message pod. She stopped 10 meters from the throne and looked up at the Supreme Alpha. The silence stretched between them like a taut wire, heavy with the weight of impending violence. The assembled warriors shifted restlessly, unused to prey that didn't cower or flee. Human. Korath's voice rumbled like grinding stone. Your species has trespassed in HFY space. Your pathetic delegation sought to bargain for mercy. They discovered that mercy is a concept unknown to true predators. Elena nodded thoughtfully. Yes, I heard about that. Thank you for the excellent bone arrangement, by the way. Very artistic. Though I have to ask, did Ambassador Chen's femur really need to be positioned at that particular angle? It seemed a bit excessive. A ripple of shocked murmurs ran through the assembled warriors. No prey species had ever shown anything but terror in this sacred hall of conquest. Korath's claws extended with a sound like unsheathing swords. You dare mock the fate of your own kind? Mock? Oh no, I'm just appreciating the craftsmanship. Though I do have one complaint about your message. Elena reached into her diplomatic pouch, causing dozens of weapons to track her movement. She withdrew a small datapad and consulted it with academic interest. According to our xenobiological analysis, you left out Ambassador Chen's left ulna entirely. Sloppy work, really. If you're going to make a statement with dismembered diplomats, attention to detail matters. The hall erupted in snarls of outrage. Several younger warriors took steps forward, only to freeze as Korath raised one massive claw for silence. His eyes had narrowed to glowing slits. You think your words will save you, human? Your species numbers in the billions, spread across dozens of worlds. We have consumed civilizations twice your size. Elena looked around the hall with genuine curiosity, taking in the gruesome trophies and battle standards. That's actually what I wanted to discuss with you. See, we've been studying your expansion pattern and I've noticed something fascinating. She pulled up a holographic display from her pad. The projection showed the local galactic sector, with the HFY's conquered territories marked in red. 17 species conquered in the last 3 centuries, impressive. But there's a pattern here that I find absolutely hilarious. The word, hilarious, fell into the hall like a stone into still water. Warriors exchanged bewildered glances. In their millennia of conquest, no prey species had ever used such a word in their presence. Every single species you've conquered, Elena continued, her voice gaining strength, shared one critical characteristic. They were all herbivores, scavengers, or peaceful omnivores. The Tenthari, philosophical pacifists. The Zelani, vegetarian artists. The Krog, literally hive-minded sheep equivalents. She gestured to the assembled warriors with something approaching delight. You're not apex predators at all. You're bullies. You only pick fights you know you can win. The silence that followed was different from before. Not the weight of impending violence, but the sudden absence of sound that comes when an entire worldview cracks. Korath's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. Choose your next words carefully, human. They may be your last. Elena's response was the sound no being in the great hall had expected to hear. She began to laugh. It started as a chuckle, a sound so alien in that space of death and domination that several warriors actually stepped backward. But the laughter grew, echoing off the bone pillars and skull-carved walls, filling the vast hall with a sound that spoke of joy, of fearlessness, of something these predators had never encountered in 3 centuries of conquest. You want to know why I'm laughing? Elena said between gasps. Because you have no idea what's coming. You see, there's something you don't understand about humans. We didn't evolve to be prey. She straightened, and suddenly the small human diplomat seemed to fill more space in the hall than her physical form should allow. We're persistence hunters, Korath. We chased mammoths across continents until they collapsed from exhaustion. We domesticated wolves and turned them into companions. We looked at every environment on our planet, deserts, Arctic wastelands, ocean depths, and said, I think I'll live there too. The laughter was gone now, replaced by something harder. But more than that, we're the species that looked at our own violent nature and chose to be better. We built civilizations, wrote poetry, reached for the stars. And when someone threatens that, when someone tries to reduce us to scattered bones and frightened whispers, Elena smiled, and there was something predatory in the expression that made several Kethvar unconsciously retreat. We remember exactly what we used to be. The datapad in her hand chimed softly. Elena glanced at it, and her smile widened. Oh, that's perfect timing. Korath, meet the Terran Federation's diplomatic escort. Through the great windows of the hall, pin-pricks of light began appearing in the black of space. 1 became 10, 10 became 100, 100 became a fleet that stretched across the star field like a constellation of human ingenuity and controlled violence. Funny thing about humans, Elena said conversationally. We really do prefer peace, but we've gotten exceptionally good at war. Now shall we discuss terms, or would you prefer to become the first predator species we've had to remind of their place in the food chain? The laughter that had shaken the great hall was gone, but its echo seemed to linger in the silence that followed, a sound that spoke of a species that had looked into the abyss of its own nature and chosen to laugh instead of blink. Supreme Alpha Korath, conqueror of 17 worlds, slowly retracted his claws. We will hear your terms.